Hello, everyone. Welcome to your 14th episode of this series, Web Design 101. So, this is a continuation from the previous video. In this section, we are going to add one of two things to what we did previously. So, the style attributes can be achieved inside the head. We can actually move it to the head so that we can have a shorter code and a very smart way to represent our code. So inside the head, if I want to add a style, I have to open the style element. Okay. So this is basically an introduction to CSS, but not the official introduction. So I have to call the element, then I'll have to style it. Now calling the element, I don't need to bring the less than and the greater than. So calling the element, I mean the element that I want to style. Like let's say this div, I want to style it. So I have to call it. So I don't have to bring less than and greater than here. All I have to do is call the div like this. Then I have to specify a curly bracket. So inside the curly bracket, I give a property and a value. So I'll copy this code over here. Okay, I'll cut it. Then I'll clean this guy. Then I'll paste it here. Okay, then I'll save it by pressing Ctrl S. But you remember the same code was written in the second div. So I'm going to refresh the page. We still have whatever that we did. Okay, because whatever that we did here is the same thing over here. Just that here you open the style element, then you close it, then you call the element which you want to style, which in this case is div. But as you can see, we have two div here, first and second. So I'm going to clean this style to see if we can basically achieve the same thing. Ctrl S, then I'll refresh the page. Then I have the same results because I have two div. So likewise, if I can have another div, okay, I'm going to achieve the same results again. Div, then let's say H3, third div. Okay. Then I'll generate my lorem epson. Control S to save. Then I'm going to run. So I still have the same style, the same padding, the same margin, and the same background color and the color. You get it? Because I'm running the style code as this. Okay. So what if I want the second div to be the background to be yellow and the text should be blue? Okay, how can I do that? That is why we have IDs and classes. So with IDs and classes, we can actually distinguish between two elements of the same type. So let's say here we can give an attribute which we call an ID. Okay, ID. Then we give it a name, any name, but the name should be relevant to the element you are dealing with. So I'm going to say first hyphen div. Okay, first div. Then this over here I can have another ID, and then I'll name it second rather hyphen div. Okay, then here I can add the ID again, then I'll give it third hyphen div. So we are going to use these IDs to style the the text instead of the div itself. So over here, if I'm to change this div, let's say first okay, let me leave it like ID. Okay, good. Now, there's one thing you should know. If you are dealing with an ID, you can't call the ID like this. First div. Okay, let me save this and refresh. Oops, everything is gone. You get it? Good. Because there's nothing wrong. There's only one thing wrong with this code. But you see, first div and the same first div is there. So what I want us to do is, or what I want you to know is, when you are dealing with ID, you put hashtag over here, shift then 3 over here, because we are dealing with what? An ID. So you put hashtag on it. Then there shouldn't be space, it should be together. Control S to save, then I'll refresh, then we are back to the previous state. But you see here, it's affecting only the first div. You get it? It's affecting only the first div in the first element. So I'm going to copy this whole text again. Then I'll paste it here. Then paste it again. Then I am going to put second div, third div. Control S to save. Then we can actually achieve this whole thing together. Right? That is basically how to use the div. So it's still a job. We are still writing the same code over and over again, but I want it to be one thing, right? So I'm going to clean this, then I'll clean this, then I'll clean the third. Okay, I think let me leave it like that. So over here, I'm going to change the black to, let's see, green. Okay, save, then I'll refresh. Then we have this so that we can uh, change our background. Good. So another one that we can add is a class. So instead of this div, I'm going to ID rather, I'm going to change it to a class. Okay. Class, then this ID to a class. Good. So I'll save this, then go back and then refresh the page. Everything is gone because I'm using class. Now, if you are using class, you don't put hashtag, you put dot, a full stop in front of the element. Remember, no space, dot, when you are using a class. Then I'll save it and I'll still achieve the same thing. Okay, so ID and classes, they're basically the same, but when you are using an ID, use an hashtag, but when you're using a class, use a full stop. Okay, so the difference between class and ID is that with IDs you can only call it once because it's unique ID, but classes you can call it as many times as you want. So that is an introduction to IDs and classes. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye. See you next time.